Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to give you a quick market update. I'm also going to go through some meme coins and altcoins. First of all, we need to break down Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the most important thing, especially if you're trading meme coins. You should know this by now. But we are in a bull market. Whenever we're in a bull market, these periods of sideways momentum is where most people get wrecked. It's where I used to get wrecked a lot. Is when the market is going sideways, you tend to get chopped up. When you get chopped up in the market, it's not good. You can lose all the gains you worked so hard for. The best thing to look at is every single June. So I've taken the liberty of highlighting most of the June periods that we have seen, but you can also do that for yourself in your own chart using TradingView as well. What you'll see is that the June period is always sideways and then a continuation of whatever period that we're in. So when we're in a bear market and we're in June, we go sideways until about September, and then we went down. Okay, when we was in the bull market, we go sideways and up, and then even after a pullback, we go sideways and up as well. Remember, bear market, sideways down. Bull market, you're talking here, July, August, September, and then we went sideways and up. You can also see that one right here as well, where we go sideways here, June, July, August, September, sideways up. And then here we are again. We're in that same period of momentum. We're probably going to go sideways and up. Now, this sideways momentum over here was a big movement. It's actually quite a big range. You can see over here from the bottom to the top, that's a 40% range. Okay, same thing for here from the bottom to the top, that's also a 40% range. So if we do also have a 40% range, it can mean that we could go as low as 70K. Now, $70,000 Bitcoin is going to be where everybody again is going to be screaming for a bear market. Nobody's going to be buying and everybody's max short. That kind of sets up the best scenario for a lot of people to get wrecked. Even if we peak up maybe in over a few days and we get everybody bullish before we come back down again, these scenarios are something which I am very prepared for. On top of that, if we do look at the RSI as well, we can actually see how the RSI has a bearish divergence. Now that means that we do need to reset down to this 50. We can run on and maybe we could peak up again, but I highly doubt it. At some stage, we're going to reset on the larger time frame. Remember, this is on a monthly time frame. Even if we look on the weekly time frame, we can actually see it a lot clearer. And it looks like we're going to be having some type of downturn. Now, I personally think that we can come into this range. Now, the funny thing is, I actually got this range from a James Wynn tweet. You never heard of James Wynn? He's the person that lost over $100 million. He turned 3 million into 100 million and then ended up minus like $20 million. So it was a crazy run. And in my opinion, it was because he started to get emotional because he got a lot of clout. And then that led to him deviating from his actual strategy. Now, his actual strategy was very good. He has a very clear range of Bitcoin. And this is one of the ranges which allowed him to make a lot of money. You know, it worked for him. It might not work for you. Make sure you read the disclaimers below. But this range is a very strong range to be looking at. So if Bitcoin does pull back and come down, first step I'll be looking at is that $90,000 range. It's very good. You can also run some fibs from it, and you'll see, you know, if you put a fib from top to the bottom, you'll see it comes in around about the 618. Obviously, you can do fibs wherever you want. If you do it to here, it comes here perfectly. If you do it to here, it comes here. You know, but I think we all know that $100,000, $90,000 psychological ranges. We're probably going to see some type of big ass Michael Saylor buy. We're going to start seeing BlackRock retail interest coming in as well. Now, we also have this uptrend. It's also somewhere I'll be looking to buy. Me personally, I want to have strong positions on BTC for leverage trades because we all know that Bitcoin leads the market. There's been plenty of times, i.e. even like right here, where Bitcoin would break out all-time highs, and then you look at coins like Chainlink, and Chainlink's barely done anything. In fact, it's barely gone up and then down. You know, even if you look at a coin like Ton is making new lows. If you look at Jupiter's also turning over and making new lows. Uni is kind of going up, but this is because of something else, which I want to tell you later on in this video as well. But you'll see, like most altcoins, they don't really perform. So from a leverage perspective, if I'm looking to take a position, I want to have a position for Bitcoin. I want to hold that position for Bitcoin because the good news is, in my opinion, if we do break out from here, we're looking at the ranges of 150 to $160,000 for Bitcoin. That should put in the top of the cycle, and that should be where we start seeing some altcoin season momentum. Normally, at this stage of the cycle is where you start to see your parabola, and this is where you break out and you can start to actually see more motion. Remember, imagine if we break and we start pulling up to 140s, 150s, everybody's going to be saying 200,000, everyone's going to be saying a million. You know, the price predictions are going to get absolutely crazy. And that is exactly when the top comes in. If you can remember down to the previous cycle, this is where I made big mistakes as well, because when we was coming up to here, I didn't look at the resistance. Instead, I was looking at targets of 100,000. I was looking for 100,000. We didn't get it. We had many, many pullbacks, many bounces. And then before you know it, you're in the bear market and FTX is exploding. This could be a similar situation over here. This stage of the cycle, we don't have FTX, but what we do have is a lot of investment funds and a lot of people raising capital and raising money for specific Bitcoin-backed companies. We even have obviously Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. Now, I actually suggest that you guys create a stock section on your trading view so you can actually view the stocks that we're talking about. When we look at MicroStrategy, you can see MicroStrategy has been going on an absolute tear. Now, what happens if MicroStrategy comes down and Bitcoin comes down? And you're going to see a lot of these other companies that are doing the same style go bust. And I do think like they go bust and they implode. Okay, and that should bring us nicely into the bear market. The bear market is not something to be afraid of. I actually think we're going to have a lot cleaner bear market than we did last time. Okay, the last time we had a bear, it was extremely long. If you look at from here when Bitcoin started pulling back, probably to like the bottom over here, that was like literally 2 years, 600 days of a bear market. It was extremely, extremely low for a very, very long time. I don't think we see a 600-day bear market. And even if we do see that type of bear market from here, you know, I don't think we go that low either, which does put us in a perfect position, especially now we do have meme coins, we have the trenches, you have BNB chain, you have AVAX chain, obviously you have Solana, you have Base chain. I do think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for us in the bear market as well. So that's nothing to be afraid of, and it's something to approach with strength. Now, with that being said, that's my thoughts on Bitcoin. The main player right here is actually Ethereum. Now, I do think that we're going to start to transition from a Solana cycle over to an Ethereum cycle because a lot of the whales are no longer bidding Solana-backed projects. Remember before, we had a bunch of Solana-backed projects. You can look at here. You have Fartcoin, obviously you have Jupiter, you have Popcat, you have Alk, you have Chill Guy, you have Frog, you have Boop, you have Vinecoin, you have Giga, you have Bonk, you have so many of these coins. Now, guys, these larger market cap coins, that's where the exit liquidity was coming from. If you was wondering why were these coins running to millions of dollars every single day, was because people had millions of dollars to spend and they didn't mind taking that type of risk and ultimately a gamble on a lot of these earlier market caps, these lower market cap coins. Nowadays, whenever you hear somebody made a 10 sol buy, people start jerking off in the chat. That's just the truth of it. 10 sol realistically is not a lot of money to people who are multi-millionaires. When they're throwing 10 sol buys, back in the day, 10 sol buys used to come in left, right, and center. Now you see most people are buying 0.1, 0.25, 0.5, 2 sol tops on most charts, on most coins. There's a big difference in the trenches right now. Whereas if you look at Ethereum, you know, especially when it comes to meme coins, those tokens have been running a lot better. They've been running a lot stronger as well. And even on AVAX right now, we're starting to see people transition. So I do think that people are going to transition. On top of that, if you do look at the inflows and you look at the news, you'll also see that ETH, BlackRock buys are very high. They're extremely, extremely high. In fact, every single day, if you just look at ETH on BlackRock, you'll see daily, you see here, BlackRock are going to be buying millions and millions and millions of dollars of Bitcoin. That's extremely, extremely important for the price. Sorry, Ethereum. So that means for me, I do think a lot of people are going to transition. They're going to move from Solana over to ETH. And I'm actually starting to look at bidding these types of tokens. You can see Jupiter going down, whereas Uniswap is finally going up. Now, given it is because Uniswap is extremely oversold right now, you can see it had all-time highs of $44. Now it's currently sitting at about $7. But that brings an opportunity, right? It brings a very, very, very good opportunity to be bidding these types of tokens. The big mistake that most people make is they don't look while the market is down. They all get the attention while it's up here. I promise you, everybody's going to be screaming altcoin season when it's up here. That's the exit liquidity. You want to be screaming altcoin season while it's down here. That's when you're getting the right amount of value. It's like bidding a coin pre-bonding. You're going to get better risk to reward bidding a coin pre-bonding to post-bonding. Then you are going to have post-bonding, because post-bonding 9 times out of 10 things are hitting 200k market cap are going to zero. If something is bonding on, let's say, new creation, we're bonding at 70k. So to make a 10x from 70k, it has to go to 700k. Whereas if you're looking on new creations, to make a 10x, you can get in at 10k. And if it goes to 100k, you got a 10x before people even figure out what the meme coin even is, right? Similar thing when you're trading. If you're trading leverage or you're trading spot positions, you're going to get a good ROI, like a risk to return ratio here. If you're bidding here, you can get 100% if it goes up to 16. Whereas to get 100% from $17, it has to go almost to all-time high. To get 100% from here, basically it has to go to all-time high. You need a lot more money in this range than you do in this range for it to go up. And also, okay, you actually get a lot more liquidity and exit liquidity at these ranges as well. So that's the reason why they say buy low, sell high. What a lot of people do is they buy high because they buy the breakout, right here, and then they sell low. So they buy, I'm sure you've been in this situation. I have a lot where I buy here, I end up selling here. I buy high, sell low, right? That's the #1 mistake. You've seen similar things with Altcoin as well. Now, speaking about Altcoin, I'm also looking at ETH-based memes. So if you've been in the community a lot, you'll know that I'm currently eyeing up a MOG position. Now here, I actually already closed my position preemptively. I didn't even get stopped out. I just closed it at break even. And because we do have obviously the drama in the markets right now, we have a lot of fear and uncertainty. But I'm keeping a very, very close eye on whether we get back into this range, because if we do, I do think ETH-based memes are going to do well. I'm looking at MOG, I'm looking at SHIB as well. Look, imagine if SHIB comes down to here, that's perfect for me. It comes down to this $6.5 billion market cap. And then also Pepe as well. Look at Pepe, it bounced perfectly off of this trend line right here. I'm expecting it to come down, shake everyone out one more time, and then come up to the upside. Okay, so ETH-based memes looking very, very good. Now on the Solana side, does that mean Solana is going to be over? No way, Jose. On Solana, one of the biggest coins I'm looking at right now is actually KNet. Now I've been in KNet for a long time. My actual average entry on KNet is about 22 million. So it's extremely high compared to where it is now. I'm actually down 50% on it. But why am I bullish and why am I still holding? The reason for that is because KNet has a direct partnership with a multi-billion-dollar company named Alibaba. Yes, KNet has actually partnered with Alibaba, specifically Alibaba Cloud. Now, this is going to give them the infrastructure of hosting the next wave, which in my opinion is going to be gaming. You see, just like nature, human nature works the same as the markets. Everything goes in cycles. I think that we're going to see gaming season. I do think we even see NFTs. I know people will say, what? Yes, I do think that we see NFTs. And I think that we start to see a lot of motion in like some of the bigger altcoins as well. I do think we are going to see an altcoin season. Right now, the altcoin season that you might be thinking is going to be different. These are altcoins. Even though they're on Solana, even though some of them might even launch on Pump Fund, they are still altcoins. Yet people trade them like they're meme coins. KNet is not something which I'm interested in scalping. It's something which I'm going to buy, hold long term, because it has no ceiling. It's already backed by $1 billion company as well, which is the reason why I'm super passionate about it. Then if you look at things like X, you look at even things like Fartbook, these things are meme coins. They also have no ceiling as well, but also they're going to have an expiry date because of the attention economy. And ultimately the teams themselves will move on and start and do new things, right? Another project which I'm also bullish on as well is actually Trench AI. Now, many of you guys might not know this, but Trench AI is actually one of my own projects. It's actually a project which I'm invested into a lot. And I do think that it's going to do very, very well long term. We spent a lot of money on development as well. And I do think it starts to see a return. You can see right here, Trench AI has been absolutely dead. And while it's been down and in the dumps, nobody's been speaking about it. Me, myself, I have been keeping an eye on it, working with the team. We have been developing as well. So don't quit on Trench AI. I do think it's going to do very, very well long term as well. And then finally, in terms of altcoins themselves, I think that one of the main runners that we're seeing right now, being Gore, is something to keep an eye on. You see, what people don't realize is that Gore is going to be building a natural chain. Now, a chain itself for Gore takes time, which means when it takes time to develop, people are going to forget about it. And exactly when they forget about it is when you should be looking at it. If you remember useless coin and you're seeing how useless coin trended to all-time high and went to over 100 million, that was exactly when people forgot about it. Even myself, I completely forgot about useless coin. And then you come back to our all-time high and you think, wait, it seems so obvious in hindsight. Everything seems obvious in hindsight, but nobody wants to bid the bottoms. Nobody wants to bid the lows when the trend is going down like this. It's the same thing. Same thing what I say with any tokens. Same thing with KNail. Same thing with Trench AI. Like, nobody wants to bid these types of levels. They don't even want to DCA these types of levels. And then they're always kicking themselves when it does this types of thing, and they blame themselves for these types of motion. Right? 1% supply at 44 million up here is over 1 million, and that's how much some people have. You know, if you look at top traders. Okay, so that's something to keep an eye on. That is the altcoin side of things. I'm looking for altcoin season. I'm bullish on ETH. I do think that we see a dip or sideways motion until September, but that doesn't mean that I'm not stopping locking in. I'm live every single day. We've got a live chat here. I'm going to answer some questions for the boys as well. But make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And if you do want to get a 7-day free trial for the trenches, you can take a look inside the links in the description. You could join the trenches trading community for a 7-day free trial as well.